Welcome to this session called Using and Creating Badges in D2L. I'm going to start with just a basic badging overview and then get into D2L, Badgr, and Credly, how you can use them together or separately, individually. Why we're here. Right now, badges are a hot topic. Not everyone understands the difference between credentials versus credits in the academic setting. Many Minnesota State campuses are starting to use them, but there's different types and different reasons, and of course, different costs. I hope to give you some clarity around the lessons that I've learned. My name is Karen LaPlante. I'm working with the Center of Excellence, and I'll be your main host today. Melissa Rusu is our project manager. She'll be the co-host, and she's got a lot of experience on the Credly side. And then our director is not available today, but that's Janice Annison, if some of you may know her. So welcome from all of us. We'll start out real basic. What is a badge? Well, really a badge is really just a part of a person's credentials. It's really what you think of as that visual representation of something that you've learned or completed or mastered. It can be standalone or combined with other learning to increase the level of mastery. To give you a little bit of a definition of a credential, credentials could include and may include degrees, diplomas. They could be credit bearing or non-credit. They could be things like work readiness certificates or badges, professional and or industry certifications, apprenticeships, and various licenses, all of which are many different ways to testify to people's skills, knowledge, and abilities. So those are all lumped together as credentials. What we're going to talk about today is what we call micro-credentials. Those are usually signified by either a badge or a certificate. Many times they're stackable credentials, one-time qualification, or there's a pathway to learning, represent both hard and soft skills, and they're shareable in an online resume, portfolio, website, LinkedIn, Twitter, all sorts of different places. So these are micro credentials. Why badges? Well, badges can help supplement our current academic credentials. They make sense for continuing education. They make sense for workforce development. And they could make sense if you want to just give your students a feeling of accomplishment, especially in a shorter period of time than your normal semester. Badges are serious business today. Some of the defining characteristics would be badge programs. Many are modular and they're flexible learning experiences. Like I said, typically shorter than a certificate program and way shorter than diplomas and degrees. Usually they're focused on learning knowledge, skills, and abilities, a narrow focus. They can be organized into a tiered constellation of learning. You go through the first badge and then the second one, you may get 4, and then they group together to have a super badge or something, or a certificate. They're usually competency-based, not attendance-based. So it's not a certificate for just showing up, but you have to prove that you learned something. A certificate achievement in the form of a digital badge. It's a graphic that you, like I said, can add to your online resumes anywhere you post online. It has badges have standard metadata, what we call baked into it, to ensure the authenticity. Okay, so whoever's looking at this can tell what you got and how you did it. So it's really all in the metadata. And this is a badge image I like. This is, I got this from the Anatomy of an Open Badge. And you put things in there. You do create a badge image, which you have your choice of. There's a library and you can choose some, but you can create your own if you have a graphic artist or anybody with any of those capabilities. You put the badge name, the description, and then criteria. Who issues it? What evidence? Was it a portfolio? Was it a final project, a final exam? Whatever that was. The date it was issued, what standards it matched to, could be industry standards, and then any tags. You might also have an expired date. In some fields, like I'm in the IT field, some of our stuff expires after a couple of years. So in many cases, you may or may not have that. But some of the things are required, okay? The name, the description, and the criteria are required. It's your choice to put in the evidence, the standards, and the tags. Those are optional, okay? Industry likes it. They're very well revered when you have it all filled in, but they are optional. The badge issuer is added during the issuing moment. The earner is identified through the email address, through your student's email address. Badge name should usually be short and descriptive, but emphasizing the skill or achievement, okay? Name it what it is. The description provides more of the details, okay? The nature of the achievement, or completed tasks, or assessment procedures, or whatever else you want to go into. Criteria are details about the tasks set by a badge issuer, completed by the badge earner. So it could be they passed the final assessment at 80% or higher, or, whatever you put in as your criteria. The issuer could be an organization, a company, an institution, or a private person. In our cases, many times it's a college, or in our case, when we're doing it, it's the Minnesota State IT Center of Excellence, and we put that in there. Like I said, evidence is optional, but highly encouraged, because that really backs up your claim for that achievement. It can be in a variety of formats. It can be file uploads, images, text input, badges, badge codes, or other badges, but it's really all in the metadata. So Minnesota State uses Brightspace, D2L Brightspace. The D2L Brightspace has had awards tool in there for many years now, and I started out using it as more of a student enticement, achievement, kind of a gamification, okay? Not linked to anything but that course. But let's say they've got 100% on the first quiz, I might give them a badge saying, great job, you've earned, badge 1 in this course. So just a little more gaming, okay? It has morphed into, now you can still do that, or you can do badges in D2L, or you can do badges and link them to Badgr, which is open source, or if you have a license, you can link it to Credly. And Melissa will talk about that. So badges and certificates that you earn can be shared, like I said, to your profile, your e-portfolio in Brightspace, if you have one. You can, in D2L right now, you can share it to the Badgr backpack. That's the default. You can share it to LinkedIn. You can share it to your LinkedIn profile, okay? And it also goes to, let's see, Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest, I believe, are the 4 normal ones. Why share your badges? Sharing your badges, especially on open badges where there's no cost, and social networks, is really a flexible and very portable way to recognize learning, qualifications, and professional development. Interested parties can view and verify your accomplishments, represented legitimately and authentically. So it's that ongoing learning since perhaps you got your degree. Built into the D2L platform, it can be used, like I said, as gamification or just as learning credentials, which is, like I said, the engagement versus the assessed learning. You can use Badgr as a digital backpass to house-earned badges. That can be used as a free standalone product, or it can be tied to D2L, still free. There are paid subscriptions available. That's where you get any analysis you want, or analytics, okay? So the free version of Badgr does not give you analytics. It gives you everything else, but not the analytics and not the pathway. So not the real stackable items, okay? It gives you the basics. It is fully portable to all professional or personal sites. That's kind of what it looks like. You can do academic, professional, on-the-job training, or volunteer work, okay? And you can put it in your backpack, and then you can then go out to pathways which lead to something else. Just put it in social media, look for jobs and training opportunities, or just put it in your e-portfolio. Lots of reasons that a student may want to do this. This is what I think are the D2L badging pros and cons, okay? Pros, Badgr is included in D2L, so no extra cost. It's not just for gamification anymore. If you sat through a session, perhaps at Fusion back in 2015, when really all they talked about was gamification. It's come a long way since then. You can customize the badge to meet your marketing needs. You can share it, like I said, through social media, just like Credly that you pay for. And each badge has that heart that shows that metadata, details of the badge, okay? The cons are, it is internal to campus, so you have to understand the level and the quality of learning, okay? Open source, so there's really no external review of learning for high quality badges like there is in Credly. It is connected only to D2L learning courses and modules. You can't connect it to events or other learning opportunities. Okay, so it's highly connected to D2L modules. Badgr, like I said, you can get started for free. You can award an unlimited amount of badges, unlimited sharing. They're working on the D2L integration right now. Unlimited storage, high availability, has that universal backpack. It's got awards, shareable credentials, unlimited stackable pathways, and trust and security, okay? So that's what Badgr has that is open source. And there's more information down here at the bottom. Like all open badges, they're embedded with secure data that colleges and potential employers and others can view to verify the authenticity and the specific learning outcomes and skills they represent. So this is an example of some places that do use Badgr, okay? Along with the one I'm most familiar with, which is the main community college system. All the main community colleges use Badgr through D2L also. But Gap does, Best Buy, University of Chicago, Center of Excellence, Women in Technology. Okay, so these are some of them that use Badgr. Credly. Credly is an external facing organization that also works with industry, academics, and enterprise. It's very well known in the IT world because CompTIA, Dell, VMware, Oracle, and others have all used Credly as their badge managing system. So a lot of people in my discipline, like I said, have gone the Credly route because they were used to it in the IT world. The metadata mapping is very robust, more room to fill in your descriptions, your criteria, all your outcomes. Badges and backpack are all in one. The backpack has both professional and personal links, and Credly does have a robust tracking system for those analytics. Like I said, you pay for this, but you do get the tracking. So this is what Credly backpack and sharing would look like, okay? So right up here, you have 3 pending in my credit. Those are an example of some badges. And that's right here, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest. So both Credly and Badgr have those 4 links automatic. So it's very easy to earn something and then send it out. You don't really have to know anything other than to click the button. Analytics are pretty good. This is an example, and if you guys are interested, Melissa can show you more. This shows from January 2020 through March 2020, how many credentials and how many were in the last 30 days. The thing is that you have to earn the credential, but then the student gets an email in both Badgr and Credly, and the student has to accept it. You have to go in there and actually like confirm it is another word, okay? So that's what the issuing is. So you can have a lot of them out there, but students have to be educated enough to go out and grab their badge, accept it, okay? So these are what I believe are the Credly badges pros and cons. The pros are it's very robust analytics. It's all in one, badges and backpack. It is recognized in the industry because the major training organizations all use it. Can be used for courses, modules, trainings, events, and almost any other type of learning. So it's very broad, okay? But there is a cost. So you have to have a contract, and I think the lowest cost is about $2 a badge if you earn up to less than 1,000 badges a year, and you have to contract that yearly. It's another system you have to learn. The really highlight I want you to think about is if you want to go the Credly route, think about you use it or you lose it. You can't use more badges. If you use less, they don't transfer. So it's not like, it's like minutes on a phone. If you have 500 minutes and you don't use them, they aren't going to roll over. So if you If you pay for and set up a contract for 1,000 badges and you don't use them, you still pay that $2,000 fee, whether you issued 500 or 50. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So, kind of to summarize it, D2L awards and badging is connected to curriculum, has the ability to be at different levels, can be built into the D2L module and course and used across the system, and it's free. Okay. Credly is external to the curriculum in most cases. The ability to create a badge for almost anything the organization wants. Standalone can be used also. It's very robust in its analytics, but it does cost at least $2 a badge. Stackable credentials are achievements that you combine over time to improve a learner's employability or skill set. So you could start with a introductory level and then perhaps go to an intermediate and then an advanced level. They're usually presented as digital certificates and badges. And SUNY does some of those that I like that I've put on here. So stack credentials in D2L need to be verified, validated, and declared that they've been achieved. Creating stackable awards for micro-credentials with Brightspace can be used in an existing degree program or in a continuing ed or in professional development. And it will help ensure learner success. But to use stackables in D2L with open source Badgers, you have to buy the Badgr Pro. Okay, so Badgr Pro gives you analytics and pathways. If you don't need pathways, you can get the free version. Okay, so that's the big difference. Stackable credentials in D2L, until D2L retools, which maybe next year they will. It's in their works, but they won't give a date yet. You have to create learning objects and competencies at the org level to provide pathways to help bridge across your D2L courses or multiple modules. Okay, that's what they say you have to do. We're doing some of the stackable at the Center of Excellence, IT Center of Excellence, and we've got another way. So if anyone is interested in a way to do that without going back and creating competencies at the org level, let us know, because we think we have a workaround for that. But D2L is planning on expanding right now, and they know it's on their plan. They just won't give a date. Many resources out there, both D2L and in Brightspace community and in Badgr altogether. So in summary, I would say that when either an institution like a college and employers, when you collaborate, learning outcomes and skills are aligned so that the learner's credentials can be verified and matched to the right job. Okay, today's digital credentials are really how educators award achievement. Learners can stack their experiences and employers find the perfect match and upskill their teams. Everyone can organize, track, and verify qualifications from the start. Now I'd like to open it up and see if you have any questions. If there's any questions, we'll try to answer them, and then we'll go into a demo mode, but we'll try to answer any questions first.
So I'm trying to keep up with the chats on here. So I'll just answer some of them while we're talking. So Karen, are there tutorials on how to use D2L awards in a course?
Yes, there are. Yep.
And then do faculty usually award one badge for a course or a badge for each module in a course?
It depends on, I have a course where I'm training faculty that I'm going to show you how to use awards. So I award one per module, but really I'm just trying to show faculty how they can use it in their class. You can do one per module, one per course, however you want, or you can just pick an important module. So you get to decide what you want to do.
And I think that's a nice part with both with the badging options, is that there is that flexibility that's built in to it to make it customizable for what everyone needs. And then is there a way to send links out for those tutorials along with this PowerPoint afterwards?
I think Janice can, yeah. I don't have a list, but I believe there is a list. So yes, I think we can. If not, she could send a list out with wherever we could post it. So
perfect. And Catherine had asked, what are pathways exactly?
pathways are what they call when you're stacking, like we're gonna do one on Python, and we've got 4 modules in it. And when you've completed all 4, you'll get a certificate. So you might get a badge 1, a badge 2, badge 3, and badge 4, but when all 4 are done, it's the path to lead to that final. Okay, so you can stack things like that. So you can, however you want it to do, but it's things outside of one module.
Perfect. So I think we're all caught up in the chat. Are there any other questions? You can feel free to add them to the chat or unmute and ask them. One did pop up. So D2L badging is not integratable with LinkedIn, correct?
D2L badging is not, but both Badgr and Credly are.
Okay. Yep. That's what I had thought.
The D2L badging is all on its own, but it's a way to start. And like I said, I've been using D2L badging alone for many years. Before we ever link it to anything, but it is a nice way, especially if for teachers out there, to, like I said, get students motivated, to get engagement in the course and make them feel worthwhile, instead of, a lot of them don't know, like until midterm or final, really how they're doing. And this is kind of a pat on the back. So it's worked really well for encouraging my students along the way.
Any other questions?
So yes, David, D2L badging is not integrated with LinkedIn, but both Badgr and Credly are. So it depends on, like I said, what you want to use it for.
And it looked like David has his hand raised. David, what's your question? Oh, maybe he didn't have a question. So like I said, I think we are caught up in the chat function. Karen, was there some other items that you wanted to show?
Oh, yes. I'm going to show you my summer course where I was teaching faculty how to use awards, just to give you an idea of the types of things you could set up in a course, even if you don't want to use Badgr or Credly, if you just want to get started with what you could do in awards. So I'm going to show you that in D2L now. And then I've still got more, I've got another little PowerPoint at the end, and we want, after I show you what D2L can do, then we'll have Melissa kind of show you, see if she wants to show you anything from the Credly side until we get that going. Okay. So I'll stop that share and get my other share going. Okay, so this was a institute I ran this summer, and I just want to show you, I had them add awards under the assessment menu, so the faculty could see this themselves. Because faculty usually work back in course admin, but I wanted the faculty who are really students to see this. So I created a award with different types of requirements so they could see for each of the modules, okay? And then when they got all done, they got a competency certificate, okay? This was just a way, so as you can see, lots of them did all of them, and some of them chose not to, okay? Some have none. But to look at this, you could look at, these are the course awards, okay? So I just pretty much called them the name of the module. So the first one was assessment student learning. And I had 3 conditions. And you can go in and put whatever conditions you want. But I had things like they had to submit an assignment to 2 different folders and then add at least 1 thread to the discussion topic. So in other words, you use same criteria you'd use for anything in D2L and just pick what you want, okay? So I picked things like that, but I wanted the faculty to be able to go in and see how they could use it. if they wanted to add 2 threads or 3 threads or whatever, you know, do whatever you want. Sometimes I have, like this one, next one has 4 conditions because they have 2 different discussion topics and 2 different folders to add to. Okay. So this one was very easy because there was no right or wrong. They had to submit their lesson plan, you know, so it wasn't like if we were doing a student, we might want to submit it and say that it has to be a score of, you know, 80% or 70% or whatever we chose. But in this faculty side, there was no really right or wrong. They just had to show us what they were doing and we gave them help on refining it. Okay. But anyway, so you could do, as you can see, none of these are for credit. And so these, oh, I did certificates. I did certificates for each module. Then I did the badge for having all of it. So in the badge, they had to, the last one, they had to, not that one, this one. They had to do the final two projects, the schedule and the table. And then they were awarded what I call the course design competency badge. So to show them that how you could either have each of the modules be a badge and the final be a certificate, or I showed them the other way around, how each module could be a certificate and the badge could be the, or the last one could be the badge. Now realize this isn't linking anywhere. This isn't going anywhere. This is strictly inside of the D2L course for the student and the teacher, okay? So the student gets to feel good and the teacher know who's really collaborating and doing their work other than just by scores, okay? So that's one way. So this is more of a student engagement, what we used to call gamification. So I've been doing these for a lot of years, okay? You don't have to do every module, you can pick and choose. But like I said, I wanted to show faculty how this worked. And so if they looked here, they'll see that some faculty actually do a top assignment for the week badge. Okay, I don't, but another person had that. But I went with just the one badge, and then I went with, I don't know, 8 or 9 certificates. Okay, and you set whatever you want, you put whatever conditions, you know, you do whatever you want in D2L, and you get to it from behind the scenes and course admin under awards if you've never been back here. Very easy to set up. Okay, you just set it up, pick what you want. Like I said, I used all stock images that D2L has, so I didn't create any, but you can. Okay, and you just add them, any award to your course. You say whether it's a certificate or a badge, and then you pull a diagram in if you don't want to draw one yourself, and then go ahead and put in your conditions, your criteria. Okay, and anytime you don't want one, you can remove it, or if you just want to change it, you can edit it. So very straightforward, very easy in D2L. Okay, it's a nice place to start if you're thinking about doing badging. I would start doing badging within a course, get the feel for it, and then, you know, eventually we're going to want to get in like industry and have it go out to Credly or Badgr and be more meaningful. Okay, be more industry topic. Okay,
Karen, so there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay.
Is this a competency certificate, or did you have to get approval from a faculty curriculum committee or institutional administration?
No, this is one just in my course, in things I do. So it doesn't have to have anybody but me. It's only meaningful for me and my course and my students.
Is it possible to set awards based on grade totals? For example, Quizmaster, you have averaged 90% on the first 3 quizzes.
Oh, there's so many different options. Let's see. Okay. So you pick if you want assignments, awards. You know, you can say they have to already get awards in other courses, you know, if you're doing your pathways. Checklist, class list, competencies, if they visited content, if they did discussions, and here's grade. So you can have grade on a grade item, a score on a rubric, no grade, or release final grade. Okay, so that's overall grades, but if it's on quizzes, then it's usually the score on a quiz, score on several quizzes, score on rubric. Okay, so those are the conditions that there's a lot of them, but it has to be one of these conditions. So I would say go into D2L, go back there and look at your release conditions and see if it would match. It's matched everything I've ever wanted to do, but does that help?
Yep. How do you choose certificate or a badge? Any suggestions on making that choice?
Well, most of my students are more familiar with certificates because they've gotten certificates before, but most of what they got were certificates for more attendance. You know, they showed up and got a certificate. So I've gone back and forth. Sometimes I do all badges in the last one certificate. This last summer, I switched it and did all certificates. You know, it's as long as they understand the difference between a certificate and badge, it's really just a visual representation. Badges is the cool up and coming thing. So you might want to do more badges right now. But like I said, these are badges that I'm showing you that are just inside of a D2L course by an individual faculty for my course, for my students, that are really just, they're used, to me, I use them in addition to intelligent agents to keep students motivated, to tell them I know that they're doing a good job, or perhaps the ones that aren't maybe need a little help. So, you know, it depends on the type, what you're doing them, what you're using them for. Okay, badges would be the thing to do if you want to go and have it be a link to some industry standard and have it be out there and verified for Credly or Badgr. You know, if you want it to be bigger, the next big step. But that you'd have to go through a lot of steps. That would have to be, you know, your department would have to prove, your school would have to prove, you know what I mean? You'd have to go through. This is just a nice way to start and get the feel for it and see if your students do like the idea. My younger students really catch on to this. My older students, and I have some in their 40s, 50s, 60s, don't catch on as much. Sometimes they think it's just another game we're playing, whereas younger students really get into this electronic stuff, okay? So it kind of depends, and I have to kind of sell them all on it, that we're gonna do this, and you're gonna, you know, hopefully you'll do it, and it'll be a little incentive to do better and do things on time and know that I'm watching you. And anyway, little competition. So.
Okay, let's see here. Can students print their certificates?
Sure. They sure can. Whereas a certificate is meant to be printed and a badge really is meant to be displayed, you know, digitally displayed. Yep. So that is the big difference.
Yep. Okay, so I think, so can they add to the resume? So,
sure.
As far as the images go?
You can, when you're, like I said, if the badges that you're doing are then put through either Badgr for open source or through Credly, then you could add them to your resume, you could add them to LinkedIn, your profile, ePortfolio, anything. The ones here just in D2L are really just in D2L in that course for your students to explore, experience, you know, start engaging more.
And Sue, with Credly, if a student links, and I can share the image, if a student links their badge in LinkedIn, or if they have a link to it on a digital resume, and also Credly offers a QR code that in an interview, employer could scan that, and then the badge would pull up. And the badge looks like this. So this is what they would see. Whoops. So they would see the badge image. So if anyone is interested in creating badges within Credly, let me know. We can work with you to design a badge. It would have the name of your badge. So for the career readiness modules that we currently offering badges with Credly, those were created by Education Design Lab and the IT Center of Excellence. So we'd have both names on there as the issuing entity, and it would have our names. So if you were going to create your own, it would be issued by wherever. It also gives an explanation of the badge as well as the skills that were used in obtaining this badge, and then what they had to do to earn a badge, as well as any standards that were worked towards or used in the creation of the badge. And then trying to see, so currently within Credly for the IT Center of Excellence, we currently offer 8 career readiness badges. So what typically happens is when one of our faculty members completes the career readiness modules with their students, they send me just kind of a heads up that they're going to be issuing their badges. And for issuing through Credly, it's a simple Excel upload, and then Credly automatically sends them out. They also send out reminder emails for students to accept the badge. So the difference with this is students not only have to accept or view the badge, but they also have to accept it. And so the analytics within Credly allow you to see how many have accepted the badge, how many have shared the badge, so shared it on any type of social media platform. And then, as you can see here, we've issued for 100, 185 have been accepted, and 215 are pending. So the big thing is getting word out to students and explaining to them why they would want to accept the badge through Credly, how to utilize it in the correct way, as well as kind of what they're going to see when the emails get issued, because sometimes they see it coming from somewhere else and get a little nervous that it's some type of spam notification. Let's see here. So Valerie, so currently the only badges that we offer through Credly are the 8 career readiness ones. As far as D2L goes, Karen, I'm not sure if any are currently in existence. I know there's projects going on right now to create those, but I think really the sky's the limit on creating that. It would just be a matter of someone wanting to do that.
A few schools have are ahead of us. Winona's got a few, North Hennepin's got some. So there are a few schools that have done some. We are well into it, and we hope to have ours out there early next year, right after semester starts in January. So we're just about ready to push it out there. So these, like I said, these are very hot topics right now.
Perfect. Any other questions from anyone?
Okay, I've got a few more slides here that go over things that I will show you. And if you have any other questions, you can reach Melissa or I at metrostate.edu with our names, okay? And I sat through a new version that D2L put on a week or so ago, very recently. And I got the slideshow from Dan Semi, who was giving it. And there's a few slides in there that he's letting me use here. So this is some strategy, he calls it, using Brightspace awards. He talks about the skill set and how you want to gain and improve skills, okay? And again, the micro-credentials that we talked about. And this was kind of interesting. What do they solve for the individual? So this may be ways to encourage our students. They can take their accreditation with them because it's digital, and it helps provide insight into perhaps even just their ongoing professional development. Even faculty could use that. but it does demonstrate that continuous improvement efforts encourages everyone to seek new skills and almost acts as a social currency share on social networks. You see it out there all the time. I thought that was very interesting. What does it solve for the institution? Well, it increases your output and the productivity, demonstrates that you do have a culture of learning, helps identify perhaps hidden talents among your students, helps create alignment with skills needed for professional development, and it does provide campus recognition as you get on the badge bandwagon. So things to remember, the pedagogical connections is all of us are doing this for different motivations. So not everyone should get the same badges. We want to minimize completion, but maximize their performance on them. Creating meta badges that are challenging to get. That's what meta or super badges. Like I said, we have to do many other 3 or 4 things before you can even get there. Some badges could be automated. Others need to be manually issued. Perhaps some can be automated, like if it's off of a final assessment that's graded, that could be pretty automatic. But if it's off a case study or a project, a faculty would have to go in and grade it first, okay? Some skills represented will be technical, others will be very interpersonal, or what we used to call soft skills. And now I guess the new thing is we call them human skills. But those are like the career readiness ones that Melissa talked about that we already have going. Again, this is just a little different image of open badges by a different person. But again, it's data inside and you have to know all this stuff. So it's a representation of all this. Should be verifiable, should be able to be shared, and it can be used as micro-credentials, as nano degrees, or as gamification badges. Like I said, I started out with gamification badges. Just got the students interested in that. But again, you need all this information, okay? So there's a lot of work up front. We've been working on this for about 6 months to get our new ones up and going, because it takes time to get everybody to agree on what the criteria is going to be, you know, how we're going to align it, what the expiration date is going to be, you know, all this stuff. There are lots of resources, especially on this one. So I do have an awards quick reference. It's very good. And then there's a article on creating stackable credentials, and Learner Awards even has a widget you can put on your D2L page, and how to share badges. So I'll make sure we get this long PowerPoint out to you, because that part's from D2L and I wanted to share it with you for those that weren't able to make that one. Otherwise, that's pretty much what I have, unless somebody has another question or something they want us to show you, another demo they want or something. Hopefully that gives you a good idea into what we've learned, I should say, what we've learned, especially in the past 6 or 8 months on moving ahead. I've worked a lot with the Maine community college system, who used to be Credly, and then funding went away. So now they're Badgr open source, and all the community colleges work together. I think there's 7 of them, and they wanted some analytics. So they bought 1 copy of Pro, and all 7 colleges work together and get their analytics from that 1 copy. And then all the other badges they issue are all free. So, and they just became D2L people in August of 2020. So a little over a year ago. And they've issued close to 5,000 badges already. So I was real impressed with how they did it, and they did it statewide, okay? So it's been very interesting to learn and talk about, you know, that they said the key is just coming up with what you want up front, getting agreement, running it through, you know, all the way up the flagpole. And in their case, they had to get 7 community colleges to agree. And then they share the cost of the 1 Pro license in Badgr. So it's been a very economical way they could do this. Some of them are credit courses, some are non-credit, some are continuing ed, some are customized training. They're all across the college. So it was very interesting to hear about that too. So as Melissa said, I think the sky's the limit. I think with the right, you know, get a group together and discuss this. You could, like I said, you could just start with gamification using the awards tool in a D2L course for yourself if you're a faculty. Or you could get, you know, if your department has several courses with different teachers, you could try it that way. I just did it in my own course for my own students, and then tried to, after I got through it once, tried to share it with my colleagues in my department. And because my students would then ask their teachers, why don't you have badges? Karen has badges in your course. Why her courses, why don't you? So, you know, sometimes it's, yeah, students will ask their other teachers then for things. So you got to be prepared for that too. So any other questions that we can help you with?
I don't see any new question. Oh, let's see here. So Mary asked if we have any feedback from employers or recruiters about what they think about badges. I'm wondering if it's helpful for hiring.
It is. In fact, I sat through a seminar yesterday that Credly put on, and they said that in doing they do a lot of industry focus groups and task force and stuff. And they said digital credentials are way up in industry. Industry is really getting on board. And that part of it is not academic, credit-based or not credit-based. Some of it is volunteering. They're seeing now in the USA volunteers increasing. 1 of every 4 Americans are volunteering. And so some volunteer organizations are getting into badges to give, you know, they can't pay the people or do anything. So instead of just sending them a thank you letter, they're giving them a digital credential on volunteering for, you know, whatever this is. So that was something new that I had never heard before, is that volunteerism is going up, and that they found that, and I listened to Park University and St. Louis University yesterday. Both did it completely different ways in their badging, but it's been very successful for them. One was not credit, one was more for workforce and continuing education. And like I said, just everybody's doing a different thing, whatever can work for you. But yes, industry is on board with this, especially if you're in the IT industry, because we've been in, you know, this in badges for quite a while. And all the others are catching on now. But yes, volunteering, you could even have a school one for volunteering, like someone suggested. Students get involved in a government club or student senate, or, you know, any of those things. That would be great. That would be, you know, a nice way to get students to understand what badging is. So yeah, lots of things you can do. Some of this you can do without even being in D2L, in case there's no course tied to it. You could just go straight to Badgr with a spreadsheet, just like you could in Credly if you don't want to go through D2L, or if we don't have them integrated yet. So these are just, I think badging is going to take off. So good luck to all of you.
Yeah, and I think also it gives a very quick visual representation of what candidates have done. You know, recruiters don't have time, as we all know, to sit and read through levels of experiences and 100 certifications and time here and involvement there. And I think badge imaging is a very quick way to show that experience. Add a little visual interest to the resumes as well.
And I think it adds your recency.
Yes.
You
Yep.
know?
Yep. And IT is changing all the time. And so seeing you got a badge 10 years ago on a platform, it may not exist anymore.
Yeah, it's
So,
pretty meaningless.
yeah, seeing that you're continuing that education and seeing that you're continuing that pursuit of your skills, and I think is huge. And I think that's definitely where badges can shine.
Well, thank you very much. We'll figure out how to get this to you. I'm not sure we'll get a hold of Janice till Monday, but see if we can get the list of people, and then we can post it or send it out or something. But yes, we will get this because it has lots of good resources for you. We'll make sure it gets out to all of you. So thank you all for attending. Feel free to email either Melissa or I too if you have questions.
Yes, definitely. And everyone have a fantastic holiday, and we will talk to everyone soon.
I'll put my email in case you didn't.
Yes, I will as well.
So there's our 2 emails if you have questions, but we will figure out a way to send the slides with all the resources.
Yep.
Resource links. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.